Thank you everyone for joining us. It's a pleasure and honor to meet you all. Welcome to today's session. The topic for today's webinar is on Kickoff Meeting, the ultimate guide to start your project. My name is Pratibha Dubey, and today I am representing Cloud Analogy in this illuminating and phenomenal webinar. A prominent Salesforce Silver consulting partner, also an esteemed client. If you're seeking any assistance concerning your Salesforce project, then Cloud Analogy is the perfect partner. Cloud Analogy is the leading Salesforce development and consulting company that offers Salesforce customization, integration, and migration services. With its passionate team, it will assist you with out-of-the-box solutions and services to meet your business goals. Let me walk you through some basic concepts before we start. First things first, your microphone will set on mute and it will stay that way throughout the webinar. Please use the question and the chat box to ask questions. You can raise your hands as displayed on the screen on your QA round. There will be a QA round at the end of this session and we encourage you to ask questions. There's a live demo by the speaker, so stay tuned. Retrospective slides. We also have the slides and the link in this webinar where you can give feedback or suggestions. The link will be now displayed in the chat box. Grace yourself and now welcome today's speaker Ajay Dubedi, the CEO and the founder of Cloud Analogy. Ajay is an accomplished technical architect, consultant and business analyst with global consultancy experience. Ajay has assisted and implemented solutions in the industry including banking, healthcare, networking, education, telecommunication, non-profit, and manufacturing. He is also the heart and the soul of Cloud Analogy. We also have Mallika Pathak with us. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Cloud Analogy. Mallika is a decisive leader who has expertise in critical organizational activities including change management, industrialized innovation, and seamless delivery of client products and solutions across multiple platforms. Now, without further delay, let me hand over this session to our speaker, Ajay and Mallika. Now, the stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So, guys, basically, many of my, especially to those who have already attended some of my webinars, I want to be very generic in many of these discussion. Okay, so although the topic is the project kickoff strategy building. Okay, so what are the key points which you should be making sure that you follow them and you have like a complete idea about them. Okay, so before we jump into kickoff meeting strategies or like how we should be preparing ourselves, so that is going to be my part, in which I am going to discuss a bit about how to choose the right team and qualities of a project leader so that you can identify, or you being the leader yourself should have sort of a checklist in which how you can identify and all. And then definitely pretty quickly I'll be explaining about the winning weapon. I call it my winning weapon, as well as a bit on the game theory. Okay, so choosing the right team. Now, choosing the right team definitely needs basically the team members. Okay, now what I have always been or we within our team have always been very strategically trying to identify is we should be honoring the team members with qualities. Now in IT world there are like 3 type of team members. Okay, roughly, okay, or 4 type probably. So one probably who is very good technically and lacks in other scenes, or to say like the parameters are: 1, a technical expertise; 2, communication and presentation skills, someone who can present, explain to the end client, or try to have some good idea or discovery or brainstorming sort of explanation with their team itself. Then 2nd is a person who is very good with interpersonal skills. Now interpersonal skills is something which is very important when it's a big size project or a mid size project and there are like multiple different challenges and sprints which we are trying to do. Okay, and last but not the least, I always try to identify people who are fast learners. Okay, so actually getting those kind of team members those kind of qualities in your team member is something which is very important. A fast learner can definitely take actions pretty quickly, and they can achieve things because they are learning fast. Okay, there might be a scenario when and there will definitely be a scenario in which a fast learner can outperform a talented but a slow resource. Okay, so you should be identifying those four qualities and making sure that those team members are put in front in the project itself. Second is definitely the working together. So by working together, what I mean is everyone understand, right? So one person cannot win a war, or cannot do a task of 10 people at the same time, right? A person can do only individuals work, and everyone works like a clock cycle. Every person's job role, or to say like a team project, whenever we are taking into a particular project, a front end designer might be there, a back end designer might be there, but everyone should be communicating and working together. So you cannot win if you take all responsibilities on yourself or allocate all tasks to one good person in the team. And there has been always this kind of challenges, especially with a big size multinational company, or a team in which and which I have been also part of, in which there was like a team member of like more than 500 people working on the same project. Okay, and many things are chaotic, disorganized, and one person or like 10% of the actual team members were performing and actually taking the project up and delivering something. The rest of the team members were not doing their 100%. And in fact, very good 20-25% of the team members were actually not doing anything at all. Like you hardly contribute, their contribution was hardly 10-20%. So in these situations, we should be making sure that we are allocating the task, or we are identifying the right person who can who will work more together as a team. Okay, and team must always rise above individual person's goal and more towards common goal. And that is also the gist of working together. Every individual might have their own goal or set agenda. Okay, but working together definitely mean that you should be, or your team should be having, those team members should be having a common goal, a concept of understanding a common goal. Okay, and working towards it. Third, obviously get everyone involved. I see that if you have a new team member, little less experience, then you might end up ignoring him or her. But make sure you involve everyone. Okay. And many new team members might sound like it's their second project or third project, or probably even the first project for that particular domain or for that particular technology. Okay, but their curiosity and their enthusiasm towards learning new things might be very good and better than people who might already be knowing the technology, but they are not updated with the new ones. Okay, that updates on those technology. So making sure to involve everyone is very much important. And yeah, I can see that we are having questions as well. So guys, I'll try to answer all the questions all together at the very end, like at the end of my slides, my part. And to make sure that we involve everyone, we can do it in a step-by-step process. Like step one being identify the problem, okay, and step two being think about different perspective, like whatever different perspective you can get involved in, and then creating a task force. So if you are having a small team, like 3 people team or 2 people team, even then you can allocate the work so that parallelly everyone is working. Okay, and parallelly you are getting the results as well. The fourth point is power of communication. As you can see, I'm able to communicate pretty nicely right now. Okay, so you must, or your team members, everyone, each one of them must be having a good communication skills, and there should, especially with any particular project in which there are like different people throughout the world involved. Okay, so in many project of our projects, we have developers working in India, developers working from Philippines, developers working from Europe and Australia and all. So in those cases, what happens is the problem happens is missing of that communication gap. Okay, so qualities of communication is must for everyone in the team. This is like a very important aspect, and if it is not followed, if you see like some team members are not communicating well or taking many things to be granted in a way that, okay, this is an assumption which I took, and that also means the entire team might have taken. So no such assumption. You must be communicating, that those team members must be communicating with other team members as well. And there is a very good saying while we hire people, like especially in my HR team, I always say that never hire a talented person, never hire a talented person with a bad attitude. Okay, so that is a very dangerous scenario in which many times you tempt to pick up a very talented person in your team. Okay, but the truth is, if that talented person is bad in communication or a bad in attitude, okay, then it might turn upside down. It will be of no use at all. Okay, so power of communication and teamwork, both is related to attitude, so definitely that should be there. Now teamwork, so teamwork will is something very much similar to working together, but teamwork in a different aspect. What I'm trying to explain is, you can only succeed when you take counseling from people who have done similar projects. Okay, so if you are a sales BD person, or you are a consultant, or you're product owner, or an architect or a developer, always take counseling, always take some suggestions from other team members, and especially from the mentors or people who have already done those kind of projects. Okay, and those people who can take self initiative, that is also very much important. And people, those who don't take self initiative, that's again a very like missing part. And teamwork definitely means like individual weaknesses. Many times the good part of teamwork is like many times individual people weakness, or someone individually in the team who doesn't understand or is not able to perform very good, teamwork always helps them to cover up in a way that the entire team hard work or the ROI is considered, right? So that's one of the pros of teamwork, okay, which I always see, and I always try to make sure that we should be working. Everyone, like whenever you are selecting a particular project and you are preparing for a project kickoff meeting, you should be choosing the right team member, and these all small checklists will be helping you a lot. Okay, and last but not the least, brainstorming. Okay, so this is one which I love a lot. Almost all the projects throughout the day, what I do most is brainstorming, and brainstorming with a conclusive attitude, like we should be moving towards a decision. Okay, not those kind of brainstorming or brainstorming exercises in which we are just doing something and something else hit us, or some other POC works and we move on, jump on to other points one by one. So rather than jumping on to 30 different things, brainstorming always means that you try to discover and discuss among your team. Okay, so you can call for a meeting, you can ask questions to the team member, take input of majority, but many times it at sometimes it does happen that majority might be wrong. So you should be taking your own decision, being that project manager or leader or kickoff person. Okay, so that which particular solution will work for which particular client. Okay, so those were the points related to choosing the right team. And if you are able to choose the right team, then definitely you will be able to be the marvels, right? So heroes of your own domain, and will be able to beat the biggest of the best of the problems. Okay, so that is something, obviously I was thinking like, should I put it over here or not in this particular slide, but I took a final decision like, yes, to build a strong team you must see someone else's strength as a complement to your weakness, and no one single one person can win a war all by himself. Doing a project is almost pretty much close to going for a war. And then we come with the qualities of a project leader. Okay, so over here I'm going to rush through basically the 9 qualities which I observe, and especially with in cloud analogy, what we are trying to build up is true leaders. Okay, so in leadership training or leadership sort of motivation or leadership mentoring guidance, I totally believe that these 9 points, I try to make a checklist and try to even have a scorecard for each and every one. So definitely the total alertness. Okay, so a person, and as per Oxford Dictionary, alertness or vigilance means keeping careful watch for possible danger and difficulties. Okay, so what I would always try to do, or what I will always try to do, see, is that a particular leader is updated with the technologies or not. And we inherently being a CRM, a CRM solution provider or a implementation partner company, we always try to make sure that we are running towards the recent most updates by Salesforce, or by HubSpot, by different other CRMs, and we try to keep ourselves updated. Now, that is something very important for a leader, for a project leader, a technical lead, or a team leader doing a particular project, especially for those consultants, and somewhat very much important for those BDs as well. Okay, so if you are a business development guy, you should be aware of what is coming up recently in Salesforce. And a quick example is, especially on the Salesforce end, recently Salesforce, like not recently, probably a year back, Salesforce launched this feature of surveys. Okay, now before that feature was launched, we used to always suggest our end client that, okay, we will have to design your complete entire surveys, and we will have to, or we can go with an app exchange tool. Okay, so we used to design those pages and like those all formulas and calculations throughout in a flow manner in Salesforce sites or other external tools as well. Now, after the launch of Salesforce Survey, many of those things is inherently within out-of-box Salesforce. Now, if you are not aware of it, which happened definitely a couple of times when a particular BD was not at all aware of this, that this is out-of-box Salesforce feature and we can simply propose this to the same client, that was missed. So you need to make sure that the project leader which you are having in the team is having the total alertness. Okay. Second, my favorite one is multitasking. That is something which I do a lot, and work happens simultaneously. So whenever you do a particular project, it doesn't matter if it is a small or a big one, okay, or a medium-sized project. You will always be having some opportunity to divide that project into multiple pieces and work on them parallelly. Okay, so that is what I intend to do very nicely, and I try to make sure that whenever we have a project kickoff or project initiation, and we have a requirement, we can make sure that we can do multiple tasking. Along with the POC, can we also do some part of configuration? Along with some configuration, can we also start the development of the actual coding? So multitasking is important. Then we have this thing called start now. That is an attitude. Okay, so start now. At times, I would say like 1 out of 10 times, people might rush towards something, but even then, it is good. I would say rushing towards something is very good in a way if you are actually taking actions and you are actually doing some work and steps on the funda that yes, I am going to start something. Okay, so let it be a project idea. Okay, let it be a question while you are having this discussion with your end client and a prospect, and you're trying to see now if that particular prospect converts or not. But you can definitely take that and try to see like, oh, whether if it is feasible or not. And the same happened with one of our products called Pentags. So one of the prospect approached us with this idea of Pentags, and that particular discussion led into another thing and another thing, and obviously the project scope became big, and the client or the prospect like stepped back and they said like, okay, we are dropping this idea, this is not at all good for us. But we took that idea and we were able to like work on so much on the POC part with this concept of start now attitude that we thought like, okay, we should be taking that to market, and we did that. So we launched the Pindag apps. Okay, so those kind of attitude or like steps are very much important with the concept of start now. Okay, fourth, obviously, knowledge of a leader. Knowledge of a leader is something which is very, very, very important. Okay, a person without knowledge is almost nothing. In fact, many times I feel that having the right knowledge for a right project is the most important game changer for that particular project to be successful or a failure. Okay, if you don't have the right knowledge about how that particular project can be done, what could be the different ways how we can do that particular project, then definitely it is going to fail, right? So knowledge, and make sure that if you are individually being the leader yourself, to gather more information, study the information required, and experiment out. So experiment also creates a lot of knowledge, okay? And it will help you build up those 4, 5, 10 scenarios which might fail. Okay, so you will always be, and that's the concept of like that's how Thomas Alva Edison did, right? He failed in more than 1,000 experiment, and the and still he continued. And the last experiment he did on after those 1,000 failures was the light bulb, right? So it takes a lot of knowledge and experiments to generate the right knowledge. Okay. Then fifth, we have decision making. Decision making is a two-edged sword. So decision making with the right sort of calculations, the right knowledge, the right attitude will always go into a right direction. But decision making, if the decision making capability is not into the right direction, or to say like if it is done half-heartedly, you being the leader, you took a decision and then you step back, that will be a problem, that will be a big discouragement to the entire team. Okay, so encourage others to take decision as well. Now this is something which I do a lot in my team, especially managing like 250 people is impossible, right? So you delegate decisions to other team members as well. Probably even if you are having a 5-member team, you can delegate those small parts or small decision making to other team members as well. Okay, keeping all the decision by yourself will slow down the process. Okay, then we have an eye for a detail. This is something which is very much important, and that should be spontaneous, coming up right from your own brain. Okay, so and that is how I explain to many of my BD team members, is like if you are not able to fit into the shoes of a prospect or a client, then no matter what, you will never be able to deliver exactly the same thing or close to that same thing which that end prospect is asking for. So you should be the first person doing the requirement gathering till UAT. Okay, you should be the first person before the prospect gets into or before a client gets into a testing mode. You should be the first person to do that. And in order to do that, you should be doing spontaneous checkups. Okay, sometimes just going through the demo, going through the project, what's going on. Okay, even when it is not fully ready, you can also still identify whether we might get delayed. Okay, or we might be able to deliver it on time or not. 7 is being energetic. If you are alive, you should be energetic. That's my concept. So be energetic until and unless you die. So, and I would suggest like nothing beyond that. I like being a true project leader definitely needs a lot, and you should be energetic enough and trying to find that leader who is energetic. Okay, whose brain works all the time, throughout the time. Okay, then we have setting examples. Definitely the discipline starts from top. Okay, if you commit a mistake, then there is a pretty much a chance that your team members will also commit the mistake. Leaders are followed. Okay, so a project leader is followed. You should be identifying a leader who is um, so no matter good or bad. Okay, even Hitler was followed by his people, right? So that's the challenge. So you need to make sure that even a small uh, even a small mistake, no matter how small it is, if it is committed by the people on the top, it will cascade. It will have a cascading effect. Okay, so we should be setting an example and being the disciplined person in finding the disciplined person in a leader. Okay, last but not the least, work through the problems. Now everyone should be a problem solver. Okay, and everyone should be having some input in solving a particular problem or some kind of solution. Now no problem exists without more than one or two solutions. Okay, so everyone should be able to give their input, in problem solving. It's not only the architect's job. It's not only the project consultant or the project owner, product owner's job. Okay, everyone should be able to solve small problems and should be contributing in it. So only 2 slides left from my end, guys, just so that you all know. So I'm moving to winning weapon. Okay, now what is winning weapon? I would say, like, make your own secret formula. Okay, now whenever I go into a project meeting, I always try to make sure that I am well prepared and I'm having my hands on the case studies, the recent most case studies relevant to that particular prospect. Okay, so kickoff meeting, that is very important, that you should be ready with the case studies, and those case studies should not be blank. Those case studies should be having a proper format. Okay, like it will start, then like what was the requirement, what problem challenges you solved, and then the ROI generated for those particular prospects. So kickoff meeting should definitely have the right relevant case studies. Okay, and many times people fear that, okay, if I'm going to show those case studies, probably I'll be asked questions. Definitely. Okay, and you can definitely always say in a kickoff meeting that, or in a before prospect generation meeting, you can always propose that, okay, we'll be able to identify those specific resources and put it in your team for that particular project. Okay, so my secret winning weapon is always knowing all the entirety of the projects which me or my team members have done, so that I have the right code base, like the right utility tools and methods, so that which can be copied, the right solutions. Something which worked in last five projects has the more probability that it will work on the sixth project as well. Okay, so that is important, and it's almost like pre-planning and chess, which is something which I really love playing. Okay, and and probably I'm good at as well. So basically, one should also identify that what is the difference between planning and execution. Okay, many times before you jump into a kickoff meeting, if you are not prepared, okay, for the right time, and that's why I always try to say, like, try to postpone as much as try to postpone as many times as possible until unless you are absolutely ready with a solution. Okay, absolutely ready doesn't mean actually going ahead and implementing something. Absolutely ready means feasibility test. Okay, so feasibility test is mandatory. Until unless that is achieved, try postponing things. It's not bad. Okay, a particular prospect is always going to be happy to hear, no, this is not possible, rather than, okay, it might be possible, and then later down the line you fail. Okay, so first execute and then speak. Okay, and that is also one of my winning weapon, and making sure that we are able to think ahead. Okay, before even the problems come to us, we reach to the problem and try to solve them. Okay, so that should be the attitude, and that becomes one of those parameters for your becoming your winning strategy. Okay, and all the prospect, everyone loves to hear a long-term approach. If a particular client is not ready for a long-term approach, then probably they themselves are doing a POC. Okay, they themselves are doing just a short experiment. So be clear with what approach is there needed in that particular project. Okay, and last but not the least, this is a slogan which I use under my signature, on my email signature. Opportunities increases when you help others win. A little win for a partner is a little win for you. And that is very, very, very true. That is the success of my team, this entire cloud analogy. And we are able to retain the best of our prospects and rest of our clients by helping them win, and only then we see that yes, there is a winning chance for us as well. Okay, and here we go. So game theory. So game theory is a process by which we can identify, and this is my last slide, by the way, before I start. So this is a process by which you can identify how you can ensure uh, a end prospect or an end client will definitely like your solution or will definitely go through the path which you are trying to take through. Okay, so that needs, game theory is a simple process, a parametrical based mathematical process in which we can identify that the maximum number of people participating in that game is satisfied with the inputs, or to say like the solutions. Okay, so you need to understand that there are like different type of sales reps as well. Okay, or sales rep, or to say like the right guys who will be able to close that deal or push you towards that project kickoff meeting. Okay, people who are hard worker, people who are problem solver, and people who are able to get the right relationship and trying to identify those who all work in a self-confident manner, and especially the people who are challenger. Okay, now whenever these kind of sales reps or the initial BDs, they study a particular account, which is a client or a prospect, you should always be taking feedbacks from them in a parameterized way. Okay, so what was the discussion they had? What was the most top three concerns which our end prospect or end client might be having? So you need to list out those things and identify like what all things we can ensure that the team can give well. Okay, so and while doing that, we can definitely identify what can be our competition as well. Okay, so even before a project is converted or a particular prospect is converted, we should be taking out and going out ahead and studying the market enough to understand like what is the best strategy which others are using, definitely, but don't copy them. Okay, you can always come up with your own best strategy. And whenever you come up with a strategy, you should and you must practice well. Okay, practicing a strategy is very much important, and practicing will always help you out. Okay, no matter if you are having a X information or a X knowledge or a X proposal, if you don't practice well, it will reduce down to X by 2. Okay, if you practice well, it might go beyond X value as well. The quality of the presentation, okay, the quality of the of your explanation, of the quality of your solution, how best you can explain it, how best you can propose it. Okay, so those are the few points, and now I'll be jumping to the QA round. I'll be trying to take some sip, and if we can see some of the questions, I'll be giving you like 4 to 5 minutes for people. They can ask their questions. I think, and this was more like a theoretical round and sharing my experience of last 10 years of managing project and getting certain projects done or not. Okay. Okay, I'm having certain questions. Let me just see. Uh, okay, do we need any automation tools? Yeah, there are like different automation tools for a particular project or a project management. Okay, many of those automation tools can be related to project management, or automation tools are of various different categories, and it is needed on various different part of the project. Okay, initially when you are starting a particular project, then you might need some good presentation tools to present your thing. Okay, you might need DocuSign for signing. Okay, so there are like a lot of automation tools which shows that you are a better professional rather than you are just a normal team. Okay, or even below normal team. So your automation tools definitely matter a lot. It will speed up the process. So yes, we need the automation tool. So this question was asked by Jed. And second, we have question by Lina. Is there any limit, like how many? Okay, so this is not relevant. Let me jump on to more relevant. How? Okay. Okay, what would be the important quality of the project leader? So Rim has asked it. I think I've already explained the 9 qualities of project leader: alertness, knowledge, multiple multitasking. So those are definitely the most important qualities of a project leader. Is that idea scalable? Yep, definitely. How to handle competition in a simple way? Okay, so the best simple way to handle competition is always showcase the right solution. Okay, and with 2 or 3 other solutions as well. So this is a question asked by Machine, and I think she has asked like how to handle competition in a simple way. Competition, best way and a simple way to handle a competition is coming up with those more than one solution. Okay, and trying to help or guide the end prospect with the right solution. That is most important. Okay, now Jared is asking me, as a project manager, would you meet more than once a week? Would you run teams to see where things are? Yeah, definitely. Forget about more than once a week. I would be meeting probably daily. Okay, so there should be a daily stand-up meeting. Okay, or right now we can't have a stand-up meeting, but online Skype meeting or Skype chat. You should be keeping an eye like on the Hangouts, the mail chains, like whatever way possible, to identify that we should be having that more than like what's going on in the project, whether we are missing it or not. So being a project manager, it is mandatory that you go more than once a week. You should definitely go almost on a daily basis. Okay, how things are progressing, whether there are any challenges or not. Okay, and a true project manager is a person who also does UAT, who also does QA. Okay, so if you are not a good QA, you are not a good project manager. That's what I have learned a very hard way, or like to be very true, in a very good way. So definitely, you should be a good QA as well. You should be QAing your own input, right? You should be QAing like what you will be demoing to others. Second last question, it seems like, as a project manager, would you? Yeah, so that's, I think that's it, the number of questions I can see. And yeah, I think we all can move on to next set of quick slides to Malika. And Malika,
Ajay, we have few questions in the retrospective slide as link as well. So please click on the link of the retrospective slide. It is available in.
okay, so guys, I think you can see my screen. So questions. So I think those were the same questions, many of them. Is there any limit, like how many people we need for this meeting? I don't think this is uh, relevant to any specific slides. Okay. How does this support our mission? How does this prepare us for future? Yes, this definitely prepare. If you are a BD, if you are a project leader, if you are a consultant, this definitely helps you to prepare for your future. Okay, to make sure that you take right decisions. Especially if you are a newbie, it might be something which you can make notes on and try to identify like how what should be the best way to identify your right team members, and how to be a true leader, or how to identify a true leader who can get the project delivered, right? So how to choose the right team for different projects, that is interesting. How to choose the right team for different projects. Many projects need many different skill sets. Okay, ultimately I believe in like the team having the best like interaction and the best delivery status, definitely like best number of projects deals closed, best number of projects delivered. So definitely those teams become the right team for the project. Okay, if you are from a if you are taking this more towards a client perspective, you should always ask for show me the case studies, right? Show me what you have delivered in past. That should be your case, rather than whatever explanation comes into picture. It might weaken out, because with a proper or a similar case study, you'll be able to judge them well, right? Okay, I think those are the only questions. Yep.
Everyone can see me as well. Okay. So hi everyone, it's me Malika. She already gave a very wonderful introduction of mine at the very beginning. So thank you so much, Prachi, for that. I know it's a bit late since we are more than halfway through our webinar, but still. Guys, I did see some of your questions, and I think I would be able to answer because they, I think, and you will find those answers in my particular section, because I will be covering not just in a generic way. It's more like things you will easily observe in any of the company. So if you are a client or if you are a consultant yourself, you will find these points anywhere. In a process towards the kickoff meeting. So let's start with the agenda first. So first I'll be covering about why running a kickoff meeting is important. A successful kickoff meeting is important. Second is goals and elements of project kickoff meeting. Then project kickoff checklist and how to run an effective kickoff meeting. So without delaying any further, so first question, why running a successful kickoff meeting is important. So it is important because I think initially it will help us to set up the approach for a project or a product development. And the successful execution of any project always begins with an excellent project kickoff meeting. So this is not to say that kickoff meetings are an absolute determinant for the success of every project, but it certainly does go a long way in anticipating any in anticipating and preparing for any hurdles that could come up along the way. So, and as a project manager, it is important to ensure that you are well prepared for it, because as I said, it will set the tempo or an approach for how the rest of the project will go. So normally in a kickoff meeting, the topics that are discussed are introductions of both the parties, project objectives and vision, assumptions, constraints or risk assessment, deliverables, challenges, methodologies, procedures, plans, working environment, and last but not the least, the roles of each stakeholder. So it is important to cover the above topics just to make sure everyone are on the same page. These topics later help in later help in defining the project plan on a granular level with a clarity defined role. With clearly defining a role of each member in the project. Next that we have is goals and elements of a kickoff meeting. So first of all, in goals, first is these meetings helps us in setting up the tempo for a project, which which will later on help us being on time in terms of deadlines or any due date for any of the deliverables. Next is they determine how motivated and committed members of the project will be to the successful execution of the project. They help anticipate future hurdles, or you can say risk assessment. This is where members of the team fully understand the individual roles in the project. Also, it ensures that there are no miscommunications amongst parties and all ambiguity is eliminated. And if I talk about the elements, so elements are pretty much similar to topics that I covered in the previous slide. So first and foremost is internal project meeting. So before having any meeting with the client, it is important to have an internal meeting first. You can discuss about the roles and responsibilities of each team member. Discuss about the background of the client if you have that information. So background of the client, the country, if you deal with the overseas clients, so country to which they belong to, or if you have any vague idea about what they want to discuss, so discuss those questions, and based on that points you can have your case studies or blogs ready with you, so you can share it with the client later on after the meeting. Second is set the agenda. This part usually covers areas such as general introductions, what the purpose or vision of the project is, goals and deliverables, the project plan, key success factors, collaborative tools that would be employed, role assignments and clarifications, frequency of status meetings, and a session for questions and answers, which is very important. Commence. So next is commencing the meeting. At this point, the project manager should take charge of the meeting by welcoming all the participants. This should be followed by a round of self-introductions, after which the project manager would give a brief walkthrough of the agenda. This will be followed by a definition of the project, highlighting the goals and deliverables, the introduction of individual project roles, and explanation of why those roles came to be. Project analysis and vision. At this stage, you would want to discuss the premise of the project. So this is important at a project kickoff meeting because it establishes the importance of the project. So here the project manager would be expected to discuss goals and deliverables, again, examining the individual task and ascertain that they are indeed feasible, discuss project timelines, analyze constraints, discussion of project requirements. In all of this, it is important to clarify to everyone that this is more or less a first draft of the project plan, and that subsequent modifications would be the responsibility of everyone involved in the project. So it's not going to be just a one-man army. It's going to be a collective or a collaborative way of achieving the success in a particular project. Next is project standard establishment. It is important to set the standards as to what actually constitutes a finished task. So that you can also call a definition of done if you follow Scrum in your company. Reiterate the importance of teamwork, decide on guidelines for task reporting, or agree on the frequency of report submissions and status update meetings. This section could also include policies and procedures for information protection as well. Next we have is communication standard establishment. This is important and cannot be overlooked if a project is to be carried out successfully. The kickoff meeting should establish standards for all aspects of communication for the project. This should include procedures for horizontal and vertical communication channel, minutes of meeting, a documented list of contacts, and an issues list. Now, question and answer. So towards the end of the kickoff meeting, you want to provide opportunities for question and answers, and this can be done by encouraging people to do this because it will help clarify any issues that were not clear during the presentation, ultimately ensuring that everyone is on the same page. Then last is meeting summary. So finally, you want to go through everything that's been discussed by highlighting all the important issues that were brought up during the discussion. Confirm that all the new items brought up have clear defined action plans, and then confirm that everyone is in the same agreement of time, date, venue for the next meeting. Next is a checklist, and I think project kickoff checklist will really help us ensure that all the points either before, during, and after the project kickoff meeting is, everything is covered in that checklist. So you can always make sure with the help of this. And yes, of course, this checklist will help in ensuring all the major points have been finalized. And as you can see, it is divided in 3 major areas. So first is project. In that, we'll be covering appoint a project manager who will be leading it. Approval for the project plan, or maybe the first draft. It's not going to be the final version because that will require multiple meetings depending on the requirements and the type of project. So a first draft of the project plan, identify the project objectives, then define project scope, approval for the budget or cost of project, identify initial project risk, and produce a detailed list of deliverables. Next is in terms of team. So for team, appointing the team members. Now this can be done based on the discussion of the requirements. So you can easily discuss what requirement require what kind of skill set, and based on those skill sets, you can easily appoint the team members. So and also, since in our company we follow Scrum, so it's more like a cross-functional team. So all sorts of skills, be it a developer or an architect or an admin, we collaborate on one particular project and then we go for it. So we do not have like a single approach that one person can do all the tasks. No, to properly do all the things, it is important to understand the skill sets that are required, the type of expertise that will be required for completion of this of any project, in fact. So that part. Then next is identifying key stakeholders. Identify third-party consultants if for any reason you do not have that particular skill set, or you do not have that particular, I'm sorry, expertise. You can always reach out to other people. There is a huge market for all of this. You can connect with many people, and you can ask them, or share, if they match, you can always collaborate with them on one particular project. Then define roles and responsibilities. It is very important that they understand their responsibility. Produce communication plans which will be followed throughout. It might change, but it is important to have one particular communication plan to be set initially. And then internal meetings to be done. This is important. You can do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, depending on how critical a project is or how much attention it requires. The third part is tools. So project management software or tools. So I did see a question on automation tools. So yes, in this particular webinar, the automation tool will be a PM tool, and there are so many tools available in the market. I'll be just naming a few. For example, there is Trello board, there is Jira, there is Asana, there is Monday.com, I think. Yeah, and there are others as well. These are very, very popular ones that you can find online. And in these features, in these tools, you can find multiple features of chatting or assigning tasks. You can even maintain a timeline for all the due dates. So yeah, so many features are available in PM, and it will really make the process for PM to manage all the project very very easy. And next is project filing system. You can either do it on Google, so you have Drive there, you can maintain your system, or if you use in Microsoft, you can use their storage system. Create task list. Again, it is important. Project meeting schedules and timeline management. So all these aspects are important to make sure the project goes smoothly and as per the approach that was set initially to meet the pre-decided deadlines. Now, how to run an effective kickoff meeting. So first and foremost, which I've already talked about before as well, is first conduct an internal kickoff meeting just so everyone is prepared. They've done their part of homework for any kickoff meeting. So discuss the roles and responsibilities of all the members so they are clear. Discuss the client's background, their vision or their project goals that they want to achieve at the end of the project, and follow an agenda which would be similar to an actual meeting. So that will help you be prepared to actually commence a meeting with the client. Second is external kickoff meeting with the client. First is introduction between the both parties. So it is important to introduce your team members, explaining, mentioning their roles, what will be they doing, and you can even mention if you have a prior knowledge of what all requirements. So you can even mention, what particular part of the project will be their responsibility, just so client can reach out to them, or client can talk to them. Next is discuss in detail about project vision, objectives, requirements, or purpose to be fulfilled by the product or service, because ultimately this project or this service, or if you'll be developing a product, it's ultimately that client's property. So until unless you are you're on the same page with the client regarding the vision and the end goal, no project can be successful in, and at the end. Next is discuss the approach to be followed for the initial, middle, and end stage. So client can also follow it, and there must be a harmony throughout the project. Set up communication process for tools, schedules, and timing. So define everything, what all PM project management tool that they'll be using, or you want to use, or if you want to suggest if they do not use it. schedule. So always confirm for the schedules and timings from the client, and how many times you want to have that meetings, just so you know they do not, just so to avoid any sudden meetings, and you know, client not to be a part of it. Sharing experience via case studies or blogs done in the past, this will be the best way to highlight your expertise. All the parties must ask questions to each other and clarify, defining the next steps for all the parties and sharing the meeting logs with all the parties. So this was my part for the webinar. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and so you might see someone going there. That's my niece. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and you can ask all the questions now. I'm done with my part, so I'll be waiting for you. Sorry, for you guys to ask any questions.
Definitely, Malika. Our attendees have one question in the retrospective slide and a few questions in the retrospective slide. If you can have a look over there.
Yes. So, well, I'm working from home and I'm taking this webinar from home. So you are seeing her in the back. And just for everyone's knowledge, no one can stop her. All right. So, your voice is bit breaking. I am sorry, and I hope that you were able to catch what you missed. So she's gonna be answering some of the questions as well. Is this meeting so will this meeting clarify our goals? I think if the client is clear with the goal, what they want to achieve, or if they are not, you can always help them achieve those goals. Yeah. So it's more like both the parties must meet halfway, and just to make sure that, you know, at the end the project is a successful one. Is it helpful to confirm scope? I think yes. It will be helpful, if not for client, because ultimately it's going to be their product, but for the consultant who will be conducting that product product development or project, it will be very much helpful for them to understand the scope and how deeply, you know, they want us to go and make it successful. So need to focus more on lead generation or branding. I think this is more on marketing. Yes. So until unless you do not, you know, have any leads, you cannot have a kickoff meeting. So yes, you need to focus more if you want to. That is on your part. So what happens if the client decides to add to the original scope? How do you handle that? So I can here give you an example of our approach for this. So what we do is we do not just have one kickoff meeting. We have multiple kickoff meetings depending on, you know, how big the scope is, how huge the requirements are, and some cases clients are not clear what they want to you know, actually get done. They know the end vision, but how to do you know, how to achieve it, that part we help them do you know, to understand. So here we do follow Scrum. So we have multiple meetings. We you know, continuously interact with them. We tell them the progress in our POC. So POC is proof of concept, the research part. So we do the research, we have a meeting, we tell them, we discuss it. If they want to change something, you know, we go back, we do another research, then we add it, and then ultimately with this going back and forth will help you get a broader, or you know, not a broader but a granular level of a list of tasks that you know, that will help you achieve the project or the product at the end. I hope this answer your questions. So I did see some of the question that Ajay didn't answer, but I think they are generic, and I think I might be able to help you guys with that. So is there any limit, like how many people? I think initially go for people who are specific to the skill set. If you're aware of what sort of skill set are required, go for those skill set people, and then you can add in more team or you know, more members in the project. But do take anyone who is an expert in that skill rather than just a newbie in that skill. I think next is, how will this meeting will affect the customer or end user? I think this whatever the project is, or a service is being created, or any product development is being done, it will affect the end. It will affect the end user, and this meeting, I think, will help in clarifying what goal or vision they are looking for. So if the consultant will be will be helping the client, if they're not clear, definitely you know that product development or that project is not going to be a success. Okay, how to find out third party people? So there are multiple portals available, I guess, and this is more for sales people, because we ask our sales team to to get those skill sets for us. So they reach out to people on multiple portals. I'm not sure which portals they are, but I can definitely get a list and definitely share it with you if that will help. I think we have covered most of the questions. Yes. So one particular question, how could this meeting go wrong? So both type of problems, major problems or minor problems. Minor problems could be your internet connectivity. If you do not have an internet, or you do not have a right assets like laptop, a good one that is workable, you cannot have that meeting. Major ones, if you're not prepared for this kickoff meeting, definitely it will go in a in a major wrong way, and it will not help you to have a good impression on the client. If you get requests for other CRM, how to handle it? Do not just say yes. If you have an expertise in working in other CRMs, then only you can say yes. Just saying yes and not having expertise or skill sets in your team will not help you in closing this project or any lead. All right. So I think Prachi, I have covered almost all of them, even some generic questions that that we received initially as well. So next, guys, we have our retrospective round. So I hope I know that you guys have already received the link. So if you could just give me a second to open that link, and but hopefully I hope all of you can see my screen now. Okay. So let me just check if we have any further new questions. Is MOM necessary? Yes, MOM is very necessary, just so client gets a confirmation that you understand everything, and it should be a mix of both detailed and concise. So it doesn't have to be very lengthy one that you mention word by word, but try to summarize everything in a more detailed way, just so client understands that we are understanding what they mentioned. How will be I'm not sure how will we balance our content and distribution. So is this in terms of us presenting during the kickoff meeting? So if you have I think just mention the relevant part, or if you have something that is very extraordinary and that you think that will help you capture or close a lead, sure, you can talk about it. There is no hardcore rules on what to show and what not to show in any presentation. When should we start seeing result? I think a meeting after meeting, if you have multiple meetings for a kickoff that you have scheduled with the client, I think meeting after meeting you would be able to see some development, because you'll be maintaining those information in a sheet or in a doc, so you can see what all things were not there before, but they were added, or they became a part of this scope, just after discussing and understanding that the scope of a particular product or a project is bigger than what was thought initially. Why it's so important to run this meeting? What if we don't? Any disadvantages? I think first of all, client won't get to know who you are. They won't be able to build a trust. So building a trust is the first and foremost part of building any relationship, be it personal or professional. So professionally, if they do not trust you, they won't invest in you, and if they won't invest in you, you won't be able to close that lead, or have that one more point of success in your company. Is there any similarity between internal and external kickoff? I think one dissimilarity is the presence of client. So client will only be available in the external one. Internally, you can practice internally, you can prepare internally, you can make sure that everyone has done their homework for it. Everyone is aware of what all things to be discussed, and externally you can just easily, go with the flow and discuss those things with the client. So for retrospective activity, so these were the questions, and I hope all of you have got your answers. And if not, please let us know. We'll get back to you with the best possible answers that will help you in conducting or commencing any kickoff meeting in the future. So retrospective is the part where we wanna know what went well in our webinar, what can be improved, and from those we'll get the action items for us, and we'll try and implement those in our next webinar. So what went well? I have a few points, and I hope everyone has mentioned their points here, because I'm just going to start with it. And I'm sorry if you're hearing any voices. It's like I said, I'm working from home. I'm taking this webinar from home, and it is very difficult to make your family understand the importance of this. But you do. I like that. So first point, more webinar like this for sure. I'm sure we are having some good webinars coming up for you. So do check continuously for our updates on that. Great slides, clear and informative. Thank you so much. I love the fact that he shared the important points to a successful project execution while looking at all slides. All right, I think this was for Ajay, so thank you again for it. Like the suggestions of popping in people to check in. Yes, thank you so much. Slides were also concise and colorful. Everything was hit perfectly without feeling overwhelmed. Thank you so much again. Goals and elements is a very large topic, and I felt this was reviewed very well with her overview. Slides were well constructed visually. Thank you so much. And yes, goals and elements is a very large topic, and it is difficult to cover each and everything. To make sure, and just ensuring that nothing is left important. Informative slides, thank you very much. Webinar on these topics are very useful, so thank you. So I'll be combining these points. So this webinar on these topics I can take here, or if my system would allow me. Yes. Great slides, clear, informative. Thank you. Informative slides. I can again love the fact that he shared informative points. I think I can cover Ajay's part in one section. Yes, thank you. And I'm going to cover this because this is again on the overall slides. And then I'm going to include my point as well with Ajay's. So we overall got 3 points on what went well. So more webinars like this on the slides and the points that we discussed. Next is what can be improved. So for more webinar like this, like I mentioned, there will be more webinar on our end. So these 2 points are more or less similar, and luckily here we do not have anything major to cover, which is good. So which means we are doing something good. So it is fine, and I'll be taking this point from what can be improved to action items, which is already a part of our action items. We have some good upcoming webinars for you guys on management and both technical front. So do keep checking our Facebook pages, our social media pages, all of them. And I think from what went well, I don't think there's anything that we need to work on. I think all the points are more like webinar based. So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for retrospective as well. I hope you liked this webinar. You find it very informative. And again, for any questions that we missed out, sorry again, but do share it with us, and our marketing team will reach out to you with a proper answer.